done. All right, welcome everybody to today's Salt Lake City HubSpot user group event. And have I brought up the wrong deck? No, I have not. Sorry. Anyways, welcome. We are going to be actually talking about what is new in HubSpot. Today's agenda, we've got a little bit of housekeeping that we're going to be doing. Then we're going to be jumping into Kyle's presentation, followed by some Q&A with Kyle as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Darren Burnson, but everybody calls me Doc, and I'm the owner and head coach here at Burnco Media, and I've been a certified HubSpot partner since 2013, along with Brandon, a Salt Lake City HubSpot user group co-leader since around 2015 or so. Brandon, introduce yourself.
I'm Brandon. I'm the co-leader, co-founder, yada, 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 HubSpot user since roughly 2010, currently marketing director at ProMevo, but also independent HubSpot partner who is happy to jump in and help you tinker with the stuff.
You are a tinkerer. All right. So welcome again, everybody. Whether this is your first time attending a HubSpot user group with us or you've been to one or many in the past, we want to go ahead and welcome you all here. We're super excited to be here with you guys today. Just so you know, we are planning on hosting at least 2 more events this year. And here are the dates. So we've got August 7th, which we're going to actually do in person. So watch for that. And then our next one is going to be on November 13th. That could be in person or online. We're in the middle of planning. So that email will be going out soon. Also, we're always looking for potential speakers for these HUG events. So if you've got something you'd like us to share you'd like to share in our group, kind of like what Kyle is doing today, please sure to shoot us a note and go ahead, and we would love to chat with you. Lastly, if anybody here has any specific topics you'd like to see us cover at a future event, go ahead and throw those topics in the chat or reach out to myself or Brandon directly, and we can look at covering that topic at a future event. Also, we are going to be doing our Lunch and Learn again next Friday, the 10th at 12 p.m. This is an online event. We'll be sharing this link at the end of the event. So if you're here, we'll be dropping it in chat, but it is a small access event, maybe 10, 20 people max. Attendees here get first access. So please stay tuned till the end if you guys are interested in coming to that event. It's just an interactive workshop. Bring your problems and let's go ahead and solve them online. Lastly, we are recording today's event and it'll be posted up on the main page you guys registered on later today or sometime early tomorrow. And I think Brandon's going to go ahead and do a recap as well. That'll go out via email and probably on the page too. So anyways, with that being said, I am excited to announce today's guest presenter, our returning champion, Kyle Jepson. Kyle is a principal evangelist at HubSpot Academy. By posting daily HubSpot tips and tricks videos on social media, hosting a weekly user group for HubSpot admins, and speaking at events like the Salt Lake City HUG here, he does his best to help the world keep up with HubSpot's rapid pace of development. Prior to becoming HubSpot's first evangelist, he was a HubSpot Academy professor, where his educational videos garnered over more than 2 million views annually. He lives in Boston with his wife and 4 kids. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing started. I'm going to hand it over to you. Welcome, Kyle Jepson.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So I'm accompanied today by the noises of a 5-year-old who is playing with something under the kitchen table. Some of you may have heard me say this as you were coming in a little earlier. I do have a list of things I'm going to show you that are new in HubSpot, but I would love to make sure I'm answering questions you have and showing you the things you're curious about. So one thing that's really cool about this Bevy platform that we're using for this webinar is that if you go to the Q&A and put things there, other people can upvote it. So just put your demo requests in there, things you would like to see me cover, and everybody keep an eye on the Q&A and upvote the ones you want to see. And I'll show you the stuff I'm excited to show you, and then we'll work through as many of those as we can before we run out of time. So this is HubSpot. Hopefully you've seen it before. These are in no particular order, just kind of Doc and I brainstormed and we came up with this list, and I'm going through it top to bottom. So let's talk about Commerce Hub. Good question. Chat and Q&A are actually different, though they inhabit the same little quadrant of your screen. So I think somewhere down at the bottom, there's a Q&A button. I can't see things now that I am.
It should be on your bottom toolbar at the very bottom of your screen, in between breakout rooms and more.
Yeah, sometimes the buttons actually get hidden behind the other panes.
That's true.
All right. Well, maybe my theory is not very good.
We will. Yeah, just go ahead and close the Q&A or close your chat, and then you'll see it.
Okay. All right, so those are really noisy Hot Wheels cars. All right, so we are going to talk first a little bit about Commerce Hub. So Commerce Hub is interesting and different from other hubs in that you don't go buy Commerce Hub. There is no Commerce Hub subscription. You can use Commerce Hub features if you're using any other HubSpot tools. And if you're processing payments through HubSpot, then we charge a little transaction fee on each one. But there's no like recurring monthly cost associated with Commerce Hub, which is pretty cool. So if you're looking for ways to collect payments and things, you can totally do that. So this is the new Commerce homepage. I forget exactly when this launched, but it hasn't been here very long. Because I haven't processed any data, you can see this is, I haven't processed any payments. You can see this is sample data, but you get this little dashboard here, and you have lots of ways to start collecting payments. So I'm going to work through these. Commerce is also in the new nav. I believe this is out to everyone now, but if you haven't opted into the new nav, it's this cool sidebar thing, and it's got lots of commerce things here. So kind of the backbone, the most basic element of Commerce Hub is payment links. The idea here is that you just send a link to someone and it's a checkout page. So you can create payment links using a template. We have starting points for various different things you might charge for, donations or projects or whatever. But we'll just start with the blank one so you can see building from scratch what that looks like. So if you have a product library set up, you can pull in your products here, or you can create fully custom line items. So can you hear me okay over the background noise? I can put on a headset if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I can hear you. We're still getting a little bit of background noise. But...
All right, great. All right, we'll roll with it. So if we create a custom line item here, you're going to give it a name, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. And you're going to give it a price, and then there's billing frequency options, right? Is this a one-time payment? Is this like a product someone is buying? Is this a subscription they're signing up for? And if you choose a recurring frequency, you can choose whether it'll automatically renew until canceled, or if it's for a fixed number of payments. So this is a 12-month subscription or whatever it may be. To keep things simple, we'll just do a one-time payment here. And then we have some options. You can set the quantity of this thing, right? Are you selling a bundle? Is there more than one here? Do you want to allow people to edit the quantity themselves? And if so, is there a minimum and maximum quantity that should be allowed? Do you want to make this optional so people can add it or not add it? These are all the different choices you have. So for this one, we will call user-defined quantity. That is not the name you would use of an actual product, but just so when we get to the checkout page, you can understand how these things differ from each other. We'll say this is a $100 item, and people can choose between 1 and 10 of them, right? So if we save and add another, for this one, we'll do a recurring thingy, and we'll make this, $10 a month, monthly for 12 months, right? You can have a delayed billing start date if you want. And the last thing I'll show you is user-defined price. So this is if you want to do like a donation or something, you can allow customers to set their own price. And if we make this optional, we'll just make that clear here. Optional user-defined price, right? So I've set up these line items pretty quickly. If you want to add any discounts or fees or taxes, you can do that here. So let's say there's a sales tax of I don't know how much is 90%. I don't know where we live that it's that high, but you can do that. And then under settings, you can have when people check out a deal automatically created. Here's the text box. You'll see where this text shows up when it shows up. You can use discount codes if you want. So this opens in a new tab. This is just the way my browser looks. I use a browser called Arc. This is how new tabs open. So if you want discount codes, right? So if you've ever used the internet, you've probably seen like enter a discount code like, Salt Lake City Hug 50 to get, 50% off. And so we could do a percentage of 50%. And this is the Salt Lake Hug discount. Right, and then we have this option to make it active or inactive. So you can turn these on and off if you want to. So yeah, we may as well save that one. That's fine. You're here, you get 50% off all the stuff I sell in my store. So we can turn that on and people can enter that in. You're going to collect contact info as part of this checkout process. This is similar to any other HubSpot form, or if you've used our meeting scheduling tool, you can add contact and company properties here and collect them as part of the checkout process. You can choose the accepted forms of payment. You can choose where you're going to redirect people when it's done. And when you're done, you're going to get a checkout page that looks something like this, and you can preview it for different devices. But see, this one, the user-defined quantity one, we can say, oh, between 1 and 10, but it's not optional. We have to have some number of these, right? And this will update. This is a recurring thingy that's $10 a month. And then the optional one that we put here, I can add it if I want to. Me, the end user, as I'm checking out, yeah, I want to add one of these. And because we made it set your own price, right? This is just my additional donation because I like your company, right? And I can add that in here. Tax is calculated immediately. Total is showing up here, and I can just put in my card payment, and off we go. So that is the payment processing functionality of HubSpot, right? If you create this and call this, I don't know, hug link, then you have basically just a link. Here it is. You can copy it. You can send it to people in an email. You can embed it on your web page. You can put it in a CTA or in an email or wherever you want it. And it just sends people to a payment page. The thing that's really cool about them is because it's built in HubSpot, it's connected to a whole bunch of other HubSpot tools. So let's say you have, sorry, where did my main nav go? That's weird. Let's just refresh this page. Thank you, HubSpot. Okay, there we go. So let's say we want to go to the meeting schedule and we have like paid consultations we're going to charge people for, right? So we can, when we create a scheduling page, this works with, we recently
Kyle,
introduced, yeah.
You're sharing still the other payment page.
What?
Yeah. Must be that new cool browser you're using.
That's so weird because when I look at Bevy, I'm seeing, all right, maybe I'll just stop.
If I may disagree, I actually see like one-on-one, group, round robin. Like
yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. Never mind. You're good. My bad.
All right. Whew. All right. So if we're making a one-on-one meeting link here, we'll give it a catchy name. And over here in the settings, we just toggle on this thing. Do you want to collect payment as part of this this scheduling link? And all of your payment links appear here. You can just choose the one you want to do. And just to show you what it looks like when it's live, here is a paid one I made. It gets this little tag that says it's paid. And if I visit this, again, in a new tab, I'm going to choose the time I want to meet here. I'm going to fill in the information here. And then before I can schedule, I have to pay. And once I pay, that meeting is scheduled and it works just like a normal scheduling link. So this is what I really like about payment links inside of HubSpot. There are several places, not just the meeting scheduling tool. The forms tool has this functionality. The CTAs tool has this functionality. Marketing emails has this functionality where you can just insert payment links into various places. So once you have them created, you can use them a lot of different places. So that's cool. That's like the foundational payment processing piece of HubSpot. And then it gets embedded a lot of different places. So we've built out a lot of things. Quotes predates Commerce Hub, but is now included in part of Commerce Hub. On top of that, we've added invoices and things. So let's say I've said to quote to someone, right? Quotes are typically associated with a deal. They have line items and things. And we can look at one of these. Yeah, this deal has a great name. We'll look at this one. So here's a deal. I've been working with someone, helping them buy whatever they're going to buy. And I have created a quote and sent it to them for them to review. And maybe they've decided they like it and they want to buy the stuff I'm selling to them. We can see the quote up here at the top. And if you want to turn it into an invoice, we very simply have this convert to invoice button. So it's going to take that quote and I can come in here and I can, okay, we're not going to show that again. I can make any adjustments I need to. And this looks very similar to, the line items we saw in the payment link. We can add discounts or fees or anything. And we can allow people to pay less than the amount that's due, right? If you want to accept partial payments, that's a flexible thing we can put in here. And when we're ready, we can just finalize this. And now we have a very nice invoice that we can send to someone. And I'm not actually going to send it, but it's all just fully seamlessly integrated. So this is the idea of Commerce Hub. Again, all these tools are just in HubSpot. If you have HubSpot, you can use these tools instead of having to go buy some additional software to process payments and things. So I think that's enough about Commerce Hub. I imagine, trying to check off things on my checklist here on my other monitor. I'm not very smooth. I imagine many of you are curious about Commerce Hub, or not Commerce Hub. That's the one we just talked about, Content Hub. So here is a portal that is all set up with all the new Content Hub features. We just launched this hub about a month ago, and then it got a lot of love in our first ever spotlight a couple weeks ago, or 1 week ago, I guess. And there's a few big new things in Content Hub. So the idea here is we've had We've had CMS Hub for a long time. We have expanded it into Content Hub. So whereas CMS Hub was just website content, Content Hub is website content plus a bunch of other stuff. So one thing I'm really excited about is we have a new podcast tool, which is super fun. There's never been a good way to host a podcast inside of HubSpot. If you were going to do a podcasting thing, you had to go get set up with some podcasting tool. Now, right inside of HubSpot, we have a way for you to manage podcasts. So this is an example of a podcast I have set up here. You can see a list of my episodes here. HubSpot is providing me with an RSS feed. So if I want to distribute this through Apple or Spotify or any one of those podcast aggregators, I can just send that and do that, and it works great. And creating an episode is pretty smooth. You just click this button, and if you have recorded your podcast the traditional way, right, you have a fancy mic you pulled out and you sat down, you recorded some stuff and you edited it, you can upload your audio here, and it'll all just be in the HubSpot file system, which is great. So you can reuse it various places. Or if you just want to write out your show and then have use voice to text to read it, that works really well too. So then once that's done, all you have to do is, we're going to continue anyway. Give it a name. You can add show notes if you want. You have to have a piece of artwork. It has to be a square image. That's a requirement of podcast episodes. So you upload that. We have a generate button. If you don't have an image you want to use, you can just use an AI generated one. If it's explicit content, you should be transparent about that. And then you can publish your episode and you're done. And again, it's all right inside of HubSpot. And we have some cool new modules and things in the CMS so you can embed your episodes on your web pages. Super snazzy and really nice to have this kind of content living inside of HubSpot. I think kind of the biggest feature inside of Content Hub everybody's been oohing and eyeing over is content remixes. So the idea here is that, if you have one piece of content and you want to turn it into a bunch of different pieces of content, you can use a little AI magic to do that for you. So if we start remixing here, you start by adding a piece of content. You can start from new text if you want to just write a new piece of text, but you can choose one of your existing blog posts, site pages, or landing pages as the seed for this content remix. So let's grab this blog post here. And if we add that content, now we can tell the AI how we want this content to be repurposed. So we've got a blog post here. Maybe we want a social post to go along with it. Maybe we want to create an ad. Maybe we want an audio file, right, that we can use as a blog post. We just saw that. Maybe we're going to send an email to some people, right? We could create additional blog posts or do some of these other things. Then you just click next. You can add, I don't have any ad accounts connected, so we can't do an ad. But we will do, how about an image? That sounds fun. Social, landing page, email. No, we'll just do, that. All right, great. You can add additional details here if you want, but when you hit generate, it's gonna just create these all simultaneously. And after these are created, these are just HubSpot assets like any other asset, right? This social post, since that's the first one done, I can click on it. I can see it, right? We have a LinkedIn post here ready to go. I can save and edit it in the app. So I can go over to my social post managing tool that I'm used to using and use this as my content, right? The same is going to be true of this email. This audio file is ready to go. If we want to turn that into, like I said, a podcast, we got an image here. That's fun. If you think about the amount of time it would have taken me to build these different things manually, it's a lot, and it's pretty cool it's doing them all simultaneously. And what I think about a lot is if I go through the effort of writing a blog post, then I want to promote that blog post on, say, social media, to after I'm all my creative juices are spent having written this beautiful blog post, to figure out now how to reduce that down to just a social post with some enthusiastic emojis and things is hard and not a thing I want to do. To have this here helping me with it is just, I think, great. So content remixes, super exciting. If we go back to the dashboard, you can save remixes. So if there are motions you go through a lot, right? You start with a blog post and then you're going to need an ad and a social post to help promote it. You can just have that saved. Or we have some templates you can use to help you get on your way that way. So those are a couple of Content Hub features. There are more Content Hub features. Let me know if you would like to see some. But I want to make sure I've got kind of a long list of things to talk about here. So I'm going to continue onward. Let's talk about prospecting and leads. This is less new. This has been around. This was launched at Inbound last year. So I guess it's been about 6 months or something. But it's been causing a lot of confusion. And so I think it's worth investigating a bit. So in the new nav, we have this workspaces section that is growing quickly. Actually, this is the wrong portal for me to show this in, obviously. So Prospecting Workspace is part of Sales Hub, Professional, and Enterprise. That portal I was in has lots of Content Hub, not a lot of Sales Hub. So it looks something like this. This is a workspace. Here on the summary page, we can see get a sense of my task progress for the day. I'm looking at the tasks that are due today. I can look at my overdue tasks if I want. I don't have any tasks due today, so I'm at 100% for all these. Go me. I can see my schedule here, right? You can see right now I'm at the Salt Lake City Hub. I can see what I have coming up here. And then over here, again, if I had tasks that were due today, they'd be listed here. If I had some due tomorrow, they'd be listed here. My overdue tasks, I do have some of those. I can start work on those right now. And I guess if we switch this over to overdue, we can see I have a lot of work to do. Here we can see the status of my sequences that are in progress. And if there's a manual email task or something that I need to complete to get those sequences moving forward, I can do that. And then here is stuff about leads. And leads, give me a second, we'll get there. We'll spend some time on leads and clarifying what exactly that means. We'll skip over leads for just a minute so I can tell you schedule. This is pretty straightforward. This is just kind of a zoomed in view of my calendar. And if I had a meeting today with someone that was a contact in my database here, I would see those contacts listed here so I could prep for my meetings. And then the activity feed that has been around as long as I've been around at HubSpot, this was kind of the starting point of our sales tools. It's now here embedded in the Prospecting Workspace. This is still a free tool everyone gets, but this is its new home. So let's talk about leads. Lead is a brand new object inside of HubSpot. And I think it's causing a lot of confusion because there is an object in Salesforce called leads. And a lot of people know things about CRM, know things about Salesforce. And so people think that the lead thing here is the same as the lead thing there. And they're actually very different. In HubSpot, contacts and companies are still your core primary objects that you're going to be using all the time. Those are still your main source of truth. They're still the heart of our database and our architecture. That hasn't changed at all. Instead of a lead being like a pre-contact or company like it is in Salesforce, and I think a lot of other CRMs, a lead is really just a pre-deal. Before you are ready to open a deal, when you're prospecting and working and trying to figure out if there really is a sales opportunity here, the lead object is going to be the thing you use for that effort. So you can decide how leads are generated here. It can be a fully manual process where they're just created and assigned by a sales leader, or you can have them created automatically. If we come to this pull in leads option, you will see we can say based on a contact's life cycle stage, when should they be added as a lead? And if you're really intentional about your life cycle stages and the handoff between marketing and sales, this can work really well. You just have leads flowing in and they show up here, and then your sales team can work through them. And by default, these leads are going to have the same lead owner as the contact or company that the lead is associated with. That person will just own it. For a long time, that was the only option. A lot of people told us that's not actually how their sales process works. So lead owner is now an independent field, and you can change the owner of a lead. You can assign leads to different people. If you want the the account executive owning the contact and company records, and the BDR owning the lead records. That is a thing you can do. But basically, you're going to come in here as a BDR. You can open these leads, and they just take up half the screen instead of a whole screen. You get kind of some high-level information here. You can call and email from here just like you would from a CRM record. And you have this new lead status thing that replaces the old manual lead status property. That still exists. You can still use it if it's important to you. But this is really cool because if I sent an email or made a call to Sam here, this would immediately move automatically from new to attempting, right? As soon as I take an action on this lead, as soon as I do some kind of outreach, it's going to mark it as attempting. So that is a thing that I, as a rep, never have to worry about updating manually. It's just going to be done automatically. And then if I get a reply to my email, or if I set the call connect status to connected, then it's automatically going to move to connected, right? If I actually talk to a person, or if I got a reply to my email, we are now connected, right? The one thing I, as a BDR, have to manually do is I have to say qualified or disqualified, right? Are they ready to move into the deal pipeline and be worked by an account executive, or are we moving on from them and focusing our efforts somewhere else? If I say disqualified, I'm going to be asked for a disqualification reason, and you as the admin or the portal setup person can customize these options. These are the default ones you see here, but if you have different ones you want to use, we can definitely support that. And we can add notes here so that if we circle back to this later, we can see what happened. And so basically, contact record is going to have maybe multiple leads associated to it, showing the various times at bat, if you will, that you have attempted to reach out to this person and what ultimately happened with it. Or if you say this person is actually qualified, then you're going to be dropped immediately into creating a deal. And if you don't like that, you can turn that off and they'll just get marked as qualified and a deal has to be created manually. But I think this is pretty slick. So that is prospecting and leads in a nutshell. Really quickly, if we hop back over to the summary page, hopefully this lead section makes a little more sense, right? Now, if I come here, if new leads have been assigned to me that I haven't reached out to, I can see how many there are, and I can hop straight over to just those new leads and start working through them. Or, if someone is in attempting, right, maybe it's time for me to follow up. Or if I have some connected leads, maybe it's time to follow up. I can just hop in straight to those from the summary page. So that's prospecting and leads. Exciting new thing inside of Sales Hub Professional and Enterprise. It's been getting a lot of features, and I think there's a lot more coming. So keep an eye on this space. It's going to evolve pretty rapidly. One thing that's really cool, I just want to mention, I think this is a pretty good example of how to use it. So we'll just stick here for a minute. We came out with a new type of property recently called sync properties. So when you create a custom property, there are lots of different property types you can choose from: single line text, multi-line text, number, drop down, multi, checkbox, files, users, all these things. There's a new one called sync property. And when you create a sync property, what you do is you choose a property from an associated record, and the sync property is just going to pull in that value. So kind of the example I've been seeing a lot is on a contact record, you can create a company industry property that is just hooked to the company's, the industry property on the company record. And if that contact is associated with company, that company's value in the industry property will automatically pull over onto the contact record. And if the company one changes, the contact one will change. And you have some flexibility. You can choose that, if a contact is associated with multiple companies, you can set some logic in place about which one wins. But I think it's really exciting. And there are lots of opportunities to connect things in ways that previously required a workflow that will no longer require a workflow. One I was just playing around with earlier today that I think is so fun is leads and deals. So I showed you when a lead gets qualified, you're automatically dropped into the process of creating a deal. Behind the scenes, that lead and that deal are associated with each other, which means you can sync information from the lead to the newly created deal. So I've created a custom lead property. This is another new feature. When leads first launched, there were no custom properties. Now there are. It's very fun. And I created this super important information property, right? And this is just multiple checkboxes. Maybe I, as the BDR, SDR, inside sales rep, whatever you call them, I'm working this lead and I'm collecting important information along the way. Ooh, Sam told me important thing number 1 and important thing number 3. and I am checking these boxes and that is saved. When I create the deal, there's always been this question of how do we make sure that information stays visible? How are we passing it along to the outside sales reps, account executive, or whoever is going to be working that deal? Well, sync properties make this very easy. So if I open this lead here and I move them to qualified, I'm going to create this deal. And this is my, we'll just call it snazzy. No, I don't know how to spell snazzy new deal. And this is the amount. It's big money, you know. Whoops, I just broke my keyboard. Yeah, it's not going to work. All right. Now I can create this deal. And the thing that is so fun and so exciting is that deal is created and I open it up again in a new tab. And I'm sure you can anticipate what's going to happen here, but just give it a minute to load. It is fun. I've created this super important lead information property that is a sync property. The deal just pulls the information from the lead. So important thing 1 and important thing 3 are right here on this newly created deal record. No manual copying, no workflow required. It's just there. So that's sync properties. They're really cool. They're an exciting new tool inside of HubSpot, a thing I think a lot of people have wanted for a very long time. And I definitely encourage you to play around with them. So that's that. I started to mention and sort of interrupted myself. Workspaces is kind of a new concept inside of HubSpot. The new nav has this. For a long time, prospecting was all alone here. Then it was joined by Help Desk. And actually, we now have a customer success workspace also. Customer success is the newest one. This was just announced at Spotlight a week ago, and it's still in beta. But I'll start with this one and circle back to Help Desk in just a minute, because you'll notice customer success actually looks very similar to the prospecting workspace, but there are a few key differences. First of all, I really love that right here there's a reporting section, and I can add up to 5 reports. I can just choose any HubSpot report I want and have them right here on my customer success work page. That's really handy and powerful for helping your customer success reps see what they need to see. Schedule is the same as what we saw. Task is the same. This is the same. And we have schedule, that's exactly the same. And feed, that's exactly the same. But we have these 2 totally new things. One is portfolio, one is pipelines. And these are actually really cool. So if I could just, ignore this for a minute. This was going to be a big reveal, but I messed it up earlier, so it's broken. So if I come into portfolio, by default, what I will see is just a list of companies assigned to me, which is nice. That's useful, but it's nothing really revolutionary, right? These are companies that I am the owner of. And the thing that's tricky about this is some customer success teams aren't working off the company object, right? Maybe you have some custom object you're using. Or similar, we talked about owners previously. There's lead owners and deal owners. Maybe on the company record, you have multiple owners, right? And maybe the standard HubSpot company owner property is the sales owner. You, as the customer success rep, maybe you have your own custom property to recognize that. Well, this settings thing that I told you to ignore, you are now free to look at, is how you can control that, to modify this portfolio to match the way your company actually works. You can choose the object you use to represent the accounts you're working, right? By default, that's going to be companies. But if you have custom objects created, you can choose any one of them and have that be the thing that shows up in the portfolio. Then for the user property, by default, it's going to be the default owner property on whatever object you selected. But if you've created custom properties that are HubSpot user properties, you can select one of those as the one that the portfolio looks at, and it'll pull it in. And then something I haven't played around with yet because it's optional, but I think is really exciting and I'm curious about is if you have a renewal date property. So HubSpot doesn't have one of these by default, but if you've created a custom date property to represent the date that this customer has to renew, or their contract expires or whatever, you can select that from this dropdown, right? Your custom date properties for whatever object you've selected are going to be listed here, and you can select that and bring that into your portfolio. So this becomes a really powerful, very flexible way for a customer success manager type person to see the portfolios they're working on and or the portfolio of companies they're working with and and to manage them. You can create custom views like you can in other parts of HubSpot. Something we're working on that's coming soon is a health score. So that'll be a thing you'll be able to set up. And then when you're looking at this, you'll be able to sort them by health score and really zero in on the ones that need your help to succeed. And then pipelines is just pipelines. But the thing that's kind of fun about it is if you use deals, you can pull in a deal pipeline. Or if you use tickets, you can pull in a ticket pipeline. So whatever it is your customer success team uses to track the progress of projects they're working on with their accounts, you can pull that in right here. So that's a workspace, right? Similar to prospecting, which is just for BDRs. This one is customer success, and it's just for CSMs. And it's just a single place inside of HubSpot for a person to do a particular job. And I think this is a really exciting direction HubSpot is working in. I'm excited to see if we have more workspaces coming online in the future. Right now, we just have 3. And the third is Help Desk. And I saved that for last because it looks pretty different from the other 2. If you stand too far away from the screen, if you're on the summary page, it can be hard to tell if you're looking at prospecting or customer success. You will not be confused about which one you're looking at if you're here at Help Desk. Help Desk is it's taking over and expanding the things you've been able to do traditionally in like the conversations inbox. So you can connect different channels here. And you can respond to people from this inbox environment. But the inbox was always like a bunch of different inboxes for different needs. Help Desk tries to be an all-in-one, a single place for your reactive support teams to work out of. And you can click in here, and I don't have really great demo data in here to show you, but you can see all kinds of things about the conversations you're having and how those are connected to tickets. Tickets are kind of the backbone of the architecture here, but you can have live chats or WhatsApp conversations or phone calls or whatever happening here. And this is the future of where all of our customer support a channel connectivity is going to be. We're building a lot of cool features with like inbound phone calls, and we just released, I should show you this too. We can come back to it. If anyone's interested, we have phone trees now, right? Press 1 to talk to sales, press 2 to talk to customer support. You can build that inside of HubSpot, and those calls can be routed into Help Desk and ring up to 100 agents at one time, and whoever answers it first gets to answer it, just like you would expect phones to actually work. So I think that's very exciting. So that is, I think that's all I want to say for now about workspaces. If you have questions about any of these things, again, drop that in the Q&A. Happy to circle back and go into any specifics that stand out to you. But I'm going to keep charging ahead. Let's talk about deal scores. I think deal scores is so cool. One of the funnest things we've released recently. So this is a new thing that can be added onto your deals. This is an AI-powered feature. And what it does is it looks at your deal data, what deals get won, and all the different aspects of timing and size and all those things, and builds a model, and then tries to predict and give a score for a particular deal, its likelihood to close. And there's 2 places you can see this. One is the preview panel when you're on the deal page, which is probably what I should have showed you first. But since we're here now, we'll just hop over to my overview tab where I have added a deal score card. And this one's actually pretty disappointing. Not a lot of information there. Let me find you a good one. We'll go back to deals. But the thing I really like about this is we have had AI-powered like lead scoring tools inside HubSpot for a long time. And the feedback we always hear about it, which is feedback I have for it also, is it's just a black box. You gave me a number. I have no idea where this number came from. I'm really concerned about what this data actually means. Here, we are getting a number, but we're told the key factors here. I don't know if that's too small to see. I wonder if I can zoom in a useful way. We'll make this big. So you can see one factor that is positive for this deal is the number of times the deal amount has increased. That's interesting. But there are a lot of factors working against it. This is a score out of 100, by the way. So 32 is not great. Days in current stage. Oh, it's been sitting here a long time. And the longer that is, the less likely the deal is to close, right? That's probably a stuck deal or a stale deal. Number of times close date was pushed out. Oh dear, this was supposed to close in the past and the sales rep changed the date into the future. Not a good sign. Days since last activity. Oh, well, in addition to sitting in this deal stage for a long time, the sales rep actually hasn't interacted with this deal. So that's not a good sign. And then deal probability and pipeline, right? This is early in my deal stages. So all these factors are working together to give it a score of 32. And we can see the score actually dropped 4 since 7 hours ago. So it's not looking great, right? And if we view this record now, hopefully this one is a better one to show you what this looks like on the actual record. And this is you get some additional information when you add the deal scorecard to this middle column of your deal record that you don't see in that preview pane. So here's all the same information we saw before, the same number, the same key factors, the same change. But look, we also get this chart showing how the score has changed over time. So it has gone down since April 10th, but it was trending upward for a little while, right? Something has changed in the trajectory of this deal. So this is just really rich information, right? If you are like a sales manager, you want to have a conversation with your sales team, a deal inspection meeting, you can come in here and we can talk about these factors, right? Well, why haven't you had any activity here? Why is the close date keep getting pushed back? These are very salient conversation points, right? And I think that's going to be a very powerful coaching tool. And perhaps it'll also help sales reps prioritize better and notice deals that need their help. So deal stages is super fun. That's one of many things we've added to deals recently. Another one I really like is actually a new set of properties that's sort of wild. So if I come over to my properties here and we look at my deal properties, we have just added, honestly, a boatload, a very large boat filled with these new properties. So for every deal stage in every deal pipeline, you get some new properties, such as cumulative time in property. So look, here I have cumulative time in all of the different properties, right? There are pages and pages of these. So that is, and also latest time in, I think is the other one. So latest time in. So the difference between these is if a deal was in a stage and moved out of that stage and moved back to that stage, cumulative time keeps counting up, right? If it was there for 3 days and then it left for a month and then it came back and it's been there another 2 days, the cumulative time is going to be 5 days if I paid attention to numbers. Latest time is just going to be this last time, right? So if it was there 3 days and left and then came back and was there for 2 days and then left again, the latest time is going to be 2 days. So these are really like granular pieces of information. There's also date entered a particular day and date exited a particular stage. And so you can start really reporting on a lot of very granular things, automating based on these sorts of things. You can look at the deal itself and get this information from it and start to understand the history and the movement of this deal over time. And the thing that I just think is so crazy and powerful about this is that these are created and spun up anytime your deal stages change. So let me just put a random string here. See, no property is called that thing. I'll go ahead and copy that. And if I come over to my deals and let's just come to one of my pipelines here and let's, add a stage to this pipeline, call that thing I just made up and save that right here. Now, if we hop back over to properties, I actually don't know how fast this is. We'll see if HubSpot can keep up with me. If I go to my deal properties here, I should now have that cumulative time in, latest time in, date entered, and date exited properties for this random string that didn't have anything before. And look, there they are already. Ta-da! It basically instantaneous. I think that's incredible. So that's a really helpful new set of properties that you have available to you. I've been talking a long time. I want to talk to you about file properties real quick. File properties inside of HubSpot used to be terrible. Honestly, just not great. If you had a form and you wanted someone to upload a file to it, fine, that would work okay. But the file properties themselves inside your HubSpot portal were just displayed as a single line text with the URL of where the property was housed, but it behaved like single line text. So if you accidentally added a character in there, it would break the link. Or if you just wanted to type random gibberish in there, you could do that. But file properties now are true actual file properties. And so I think I have one for deals. If I come here to a deal, Let's just find a deal here that has a file attached to it. Hopefully I can find one of those. So I believe my file property is called contract or something. Proposal or contract or something. There it is. No. Let's just see. Yeah. So this redonkulous deal has something attached to it. That's super fun. Let's pull it up. Sorry, my computer's going so slowly. It has a hard time doing anything, and it especially has a hard time doing anything while other people are watching. So here is my proposal or contract or something property. You can see I've uploaded a file here, and we can add a file if we want. These file properties can each hold up to 10 files per record. So I could add 10 proposals or contracts or something here. And if I want to open this, I could just open it again in a new tab, and it's in this cool file preview thing, right? And these are all powered by HubSpot's file management stuff. So you can do everything with these properties that you would do with any other property. For a little while, I had this as a required property for creating a deal. So a deal could only be created if you were uploading the proposal that generated that deal. Lots of fun things you can do there. And yeah, we got like 14 minutes left. I just could go on and on forever. Since we're here, let me show you real quick. We've reorganized this space on records, not just deal records, all CRM records. You used to have to view all properties if you wanted to change the properties that appear here. Now there's just this customized properties thing. And like if we wanted to get rid of that proposal or contract or something, and if we wanted to rearrange these, now we don't have to go to that full screen where we're seeing all the properties laid out and all their values. We can just rearrange things and save them. And it works. If you want that full experience, you can still view all properties. That is a thing that exists, but it's separate now. And I'll take a break and stop talking because I see Brandon back on camera. Are there things that people would like to see, sir?
Well, we definitely have some questions. I want to give you a moment to at least catch your breath because that was
I'm going to take a drink.
That was really impressive. Thank you. I wish there was like a way to, a round of applause, but I'll just do this instead. Like this Bevy doesn't have the like little tools that make you that let you send a little emoji floating up into the screen.
Oh yeah, the reactions.
The reactions, but that's all right. I mean, I think, we got a pretty engaged group here. Thank you for going through all of that. I mean, you sped through it. That's like, months of new updates. I think what's really exciting, I know, just from my perspective, before we go into some of the questions, like what's exciting is there's big features like what, looking at like the prospecting, the help desk, Commerce Hub, the content thing is mind-blowingly cool. But there's also, for the real HubSpot dorks, there's some really like awesome stuff that we've been waiting on for a while, like a sync property that lets me, carry values across objects. Like, oh, chef's kiss. Been waiting for something like that for a long, long time, or a better file property. So like, I think HubSpot's hitting like a lot of the high notes, but they're also hitting a lot of the like, hey, this is like a up to par functionality, and you guys very quietly rolled it out there.
Yeah.
So super excited about all of this. And thank you for the walkthrough. Should we do some questions? And I guess, you guys,
I see stuff in the Q&A. Everybody, if you can find the Q&A button down at the bottom and click on it. There is an upvoting functionality here. So upvote the things you like or add things if nobody asked the question you like.
By the way, I just realized too that you can actually scroll. So if you don't see the Q&A, just drag your mouse and it'll pop.
Oh, that's a good trick.
How Apple of it. But yeah, do we want to jump into some of these? Kyle, do you want me to read them off? You want to jump into them or?
Yeah, so I'm in here. I just sorted by most voted. So Adam asks, I know right now Commerce Hub is exclusive to HubSpot or Stripe payments. Any plans on opening that up to other payment software? So this is I don't know is the accurate answer. My understanding from that team is where they're really focused right now is expanding our number of accounting integrations. So we're working really hard on a truly excellent QuickBooks Online integration to get all this payment processing stuff happening in HubSpot synced with your actual accounting software. And we know not everybody uses QuickBooks, so we're trying to expand that to, I don't know, Xero and whoever else is out there. So I think that's our main focus in terms of partnerships and things. For a long time, it was just HubSpot as the payment processor. You can now bring your own Stripe account, which has removed a lot of the restrictions that existed previously. If you're working internationally, for example, bringing your own Stripe account helps a lot with that. I don't know whether adding other payment processors is something on a roadmap. I have not thought to ask that question. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I don't have that answer. So Brandon. Oh, Brandon Carter. Wow.
A bunch of these are mine. It's a bad habit. I like to submit just tons of questions.
Can Commerce Hub work as a sort of e-commerce platform, as in products are surfaced on a website with a cart, etc., or is it mostly geared toward like B2B payments and subscriptions? I would definitely say it's geared more toward B2B payments and subscriptions. Cart functionality and order functionality is in a weird state right now. I can't quite figure it out. There are APIs that exist for these things. And so I think if you were using Shopify, we have a pretty good integration there, data sync, two-way, lovely. And you can use a lot of these things in there. But like true e-commerce functionality, I would say is not something Commerce Hub currently has. And it's a little unclear to me whether that's a direction we're moving in or if that's going to be more of like a partnership and integration play for us.
Can products be surfaced in like a HubDB table, or I mean, do they have that kind of functionality?
So I have seen people build really cool dynamic emails and things with products. Products are accessible through a couple of different Hubble formulas. Yeah. I don't know specifically about HubDB, whether you can pull products in directly there. That HubDB is like, that's in the mysterious world of content stuff that I just don't know how to use. But there are ways to get that same effect if you know Hubble and can loop through tables and things. So it's possible to get to the sort of thing you're describing. I don't know if HubDB specifically does it.
Fair enough.
A different Brandon asks, can we have those fields default to be after the main field? Like when I look for stage, now it's always hidden because those new fields show. I do love them though, but that's the only downside. I will. Oh, were you going to say something, Brandon?
Well, Kyle, I just wanted to add, just in case you're unclear, like Brandon asked this question when you were going through the like date stamp fields on
like the community. I got that. Okay. So I wasn't sure I was going to get it, but yes, I have this feedback also. Now, anytime I'm searching for my actual deal stages or things, I just get an impossible number of properties to sort through. It is a lot of noise and clutter. And that is feedback the product team has heard loud and clear. We have never really at any point at HubSpot had a way of suppressing or reordering properties. Up till now, alphabetical and display all has been great. But we added similar things for life cycle stages on contacts. I suspect we're going to do the same thing with like ticket stages. And so there's just going to be this huge proliferation of date properties in HubSpot. And I think we absolutely have to figure out a way to hide them or minimize them. Or I like this suggestion of moving them to the bottom of the list or something, because it is so hard to sift through them all right now. So that is not, I don't know when we will get that fixed, but this is feedback we've heard loud and clear. And I personally feel very viscerally. And so I'm excited to see a creative solution from the product team at some point. I just don't know when that will be. Brandon again asks, can you do dynamic pricing based on URL parameters? That's a good question. I would want to explore that with you a little more. We could brainstorm. I don't know if there are specific parameters that you can add in that the pricing page will respond to, though I know that works for forms. And so that's actually really interesting. That feels very HubSpotty to me, but I haven't tried it. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I mean, the nature of payment links is you can create as many as you want. And so if there are different pricing combinations or packaging options you want, you could just create different links for each of those and then route people to them depending on what you want to do. Is what I would say. Brandon, did you have something to add there? I felt like you were leaning for it.
No, that's just how I move. I'm weird.
All right. He's just into it. Madison says, piggybacking off Brandon's, does the Commerce Hub make sense to use for SaaS contracts? We have contracts set up via quotes in Commerce, I believe, but don't think payments is collected or invoices run through Commerce. So I definitely think it's worth exploring. Invoices is pretty new to HubSpot. We've had subscriptions for a while, and they used to be pretty bare bones, but they're growing up a lot. So I think if you have a pretty simple, straightforward monthly recurring charge, I think Commerce Hub will probably work great for you. If you do something more complicated than that, if there's like usage-based pricing or volume-based pricing, right? Like if you think of like HubSpot's own like marketing contact tiers and that sort of thing, I think that would probably be impossible to charge for using Commerce Hub given its current feature set. But if you're just like charging $50 a month for this plan and $100 a month for that plan, I think you probably could get there using Commerce Hub. But if you have nuanced pricing or sliding scales or something, I think we're probably not quite there yet.
I'd also add to that too, like if your pricing unlocks like a specific unlock within your software, or it's tying something in together, there might have to be like a workflow that you might need to create that APIs to open that up or something. So that can be a little tricky.
Yeah, and I mean, now that the thing we used to call custom behavioral events are just custom events, and they're available in all enterprise subscriptions, not just Marketing Hub. There are cool things you can do with stuff like that, but that is way beyond what I know how to build personally. And I don't know if any of that is directly connected to the features inside of Commerce Hub. So there'd probably be some gaps there, would be my guess. Let's see. We'll just keep working through these. I don't know. We got 3 minutes. Do you have end of meeting housekeeping stuff, or should I just charge ahead right until the top of the hour?
I'm just going to post some links to our event next Friday, and then also a resource back sending people off to the Spotlight that was announced last week, so people can go check that out to see all some of the other stuff. But let's go ahead and keep doing some Q&A if you've got a minute.
Cool. Yeah, happy to. From Malmborg, when is Documents going to get a makeover to be more aligned with other marketing content? I feel you. My guess is no time soon. I have asked this question myself. I think the Documents tool is kind of just sitting in maintenance mode. It hasn't gotten a new feature in years, and it's been around a long time. But it has looked it looks pretty much today the way it looked when I joined HubSpot in 2015. It definitely doesn't seem to be an area HubSpot is interested in investing in, which is sad because the people who use it love it. There's a cohort of dedicated Documents tool users who just are like power users, and I'm amazed what they're able to accomplish with the very basic feature set that's in there. I would love for it to be more integrated with things, but as far as I know, there are no plans to do that. Sadly. Brandon Carter, can user type fields by saying, yeah. So like owner properties, you mean the user properties?
As in like, yeah, if I can have an owner on, let's say, a company that then like automatically carries over to the associated contacts. For
That's a good question. I know when they first launched, that was not possible, but I don't remember if that was a just in beta thing or if that was a forever sort of thing. So let's just create one here. Let's just find out together what happens. By
the way, I love the various like growing uses that we're seeing for user properties, because like we use those a lot. Like it's rare that in my day job that I'm able to even use like the contact owner or the company owner. We have a bunch of different roles. So to see them like surfaced in like the prospecting or like the customer success workspace is just incredible. Love it.
Owner properties are here, so you can think that way. So that is, like I said, that was not working at first, but it is now. So there may be limitations on what properties you can pull through. I don't know for sure. I can't promise that, but I would guess if there are limitations, we're going to work on swirling those away. One thing I saw, I should have mentioned, we now have sensitive data in HubSpot, not HIPAA compliant. Don't go there. But if you want to store like driver's license numbers or something, you can do that now. There's a beta you should opt into and try out. I think that's very exciting. Well, we are at the top of the hour, so
I do want my question answered. Brendan's answered all his and skipped mine, so I want.
Mine were
All
voted.
Well, so was mine almost. I'm just curious, like in the Commerce Hub discounts, can we do those by line item instead of just like the total order? Yet?
Yes. And everybody here, if you gotta hop to other meetings, I will not be offended if you start going out the door. But since you asked, yes, you can. So if I, all right. So if we create a payment link here real quick, and we'll just use a blank one. I can add so let's say you have a product set up, right?
Hello.
Here is my standard $10,000 down payment product. You can adjust all this right here, and there's like a unit discount option here. So if you want to do a percentage discount or a dollar amount discount, you can do that per line.
I guess I should have clarified. So if I gave him a code, so
the discount code. Yes, that is just for the whole order, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, if anybody doesn't have any outstanding questions for Kyle, I guess we can wrap this up and let him go. Brandon, anything else to add?
No, I mean, clearly I've got like 15 more questions that are in the QA tab. I could sit here and bug all of you all day, not just Kyle. No, but I think he served his penance, his annual penance to the Salt Lake City HubSpot user group, and we are very appreciative.
Yes, thank you very much, Kyle. It is always awesome to have you be a part of the group, and hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to come back.
All right, everybody, have a great day. And like I said, register for the event next Friday if you want to come and hang out with us as we go in through any specific questions that you might have. Otherwise, be on the lookout for the announcements for our next in-person event coming up here in Draper. So we look forward to seeing you then. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Al. Bye.